Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the final race of the regular season here in the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. Race number 12. I'm Hannah Newhouse, joined as always by Russell Cox, Rusty Walrus. And Rusty, we're about ready to send them loose out in the desert of Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the final race of round 3. One of the final chances to lock themselves into the championship race, and it is sure to be a wild one.
Yeah, final race, championship clinching scenarios. I'm just gonna have to remind myself to breathe here tonight because everything it matters here tonight. We've seen all season. The stakes are incredibly high in the NASCAR Heat Pro League, and that's why I love this. Every lap, every corner, every spot, every point, the money, the wins, everything has led to tonight. And we've seen the last couple weeks how much it matters to these guys. We're seeing some tempers flare. The passion is at an all-time high, and it's only fitting we're heading to Las Vegas because with one shot left, everybody's going all in here. And we're setting ourselves up to see some guys maybe gamble to steal a segment win and maybe a first career win tonight. But this is going to be a special one here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And take a look here at our timeline for tonight's events. Those PlayStation drivers will roll off first. So they'll be the first ones to hit the track out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the final race in segment 3, roughly 8:08 p.m. Those race results, we expect that race to last a little over 30 minutes here. So stick with us because the Xbox race, the one really to watch here again, there's a couple people still on the line here to lock into that championship race. The PlayStation still has an opportunity for some excitement as well, but that Xbox race will roll off at 8:45. But before we get into the race tonight here at Las Vegas, Rusty, we gotta correct some things. If you were with us last week at Road America, prior to that race, we talked about Auto Club and some of the penalties that came out of there. Matthew Selby being one of those drivers with a penalty. He's had 5 points added back after that team successfully appealed one of the penalties. So only the total points lost were 15 for that round 10 Auto Club race. But if you joined us last week at Road America, it was a wild race on both platforms and lots of penalties handed out here, Rusty.
Yeah, we reviewed all of the tapes and we had to kind of lay down the law. But the drivers generally police themselves and they kind of take care on the track and they speak off the track. But last week, with all the pressure mounting, the guys are getting a little bit desperate and they just started doing a lot of payback. And as you can see, it's reflected in the points penalty here. But I think we can expect a little bit different style of racing here today at Las Vegas. But it's just part of racing with the stakes high each and every week.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Walker being one of those drivers for a 10-point penalty. Kyle Arnold also with a 10-point penalty. So those drivers looking to make it up tonight here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But getting to know the drivers each and every week as the season continues to wind down. But let's get to know our Hendrick Motorsports Gaming Club drivers a little bit better.
During the off season from season 1 to season 2, I took a break, man. I hadn't raced a lot. I've been confident the whole time, and I felt good about myself. And a little bit over a month ago, we were at Iowa, and I felt really good there and got a good finish at 4th. And ever since then, man, I've been rolling.
It's been a season of up and downs, and to have a sponsor on board, definitely been exciting, and to be able to represent a brand that's come into this sport and been very supportive. It's just been incredible. And to start the season with a win was, definitely what we needed.
Me and Nick work together really well. We probably share our setups with each other more than any other teammates in the series. So we keep our heads down and we just go out there and race and have fun, man. And that's what we've been doing lately.
I'm very competitive, but I have to have fun doing it. That's really how I got here and why I'm doing it. And, if you can't have fun doing this, you probably shouldn't be here.
We've had a couple guys named Zach and Dustin who are engineers for Chase Elliott and William Byron. I was with Dustin quite a bit, messaging him at the beginning of last year. He gave me a couple pointers with certain parts of the setups that a lot of people in NASCAR Heat really don't mess with. So he helped me a ton, kind of cross the bridge from just being a pretty solid driver to being a really good driver and knowing my setups pretty well.
As a numbers guy, I love that stuff. I'm a CPA certified. I also have my Series 7 and 66 licenses. So anything to do with numbers, I just love it. Outside of work, I just bought a boat this year, so it was one of the best decisions I made to just go out and, enjoy life every day.
So I live in James County, Indiana. I'm a director for USSSA baseball in Indiana for a company, Ohio Valley Sports. We run USSSA baseball tournaments. It's amazing that I get to do that and do this. This is my sources of income. I'm a huge racing historian. I'm constantly watching old races, and I love NASCAR before I even could remember.
It's been interesting because the short story is I get paid to play video games, but the truth of that is it's a lot deeper than that.
had great support. I hear nothing negative. Most people are just like, wow, that's extremely cool. And I've done amazing things with Hendrick, been to races and experienced things in the garage that honestly won't sink in until I'm 40 years old.
And a good little insight there with Nick Jobs and Sam Morris. Sam really, Rusty, is in contention here. He's got a chance on the Xbox side of things to lock himself into that championship, and Nick Jobs also has had some pretty good runs as of late.
And Nick Jobs, I love getting the behind the scenes look at him. He's one of the biggest personalities in the league. So if you're looking for a guy with a little bit of extra flair, he's your guy. But Sam Morris, as you said, he's kind of snuck his way into the conversation to punch his ticket into the championship. He's only 5 points behind the two heavyweights in the league. So Sam Morris, I'm looking for him to have a big day today.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's part of the Xbox race. That'll be coming up a little bit later. We'll have our calculators out for that race. But first, the PlayStation drivers. But if you missed what happened last week at Road America, take a look at all the action that took place here.
Anybody can win on the PlayStation side, but I think we're setting ourselves up for another one of those intense races. This is going to be a fun one.
Green flag is in the air instantly. Kyle Arnold with the jump. They go into the corner.
You can see Kyle Arnold, cool, calm, and collected as always. Mike Ross, you can see how intense he is. Right on board here with Joe Gornick. He's going to get in the gas perfectly at the exit of the final corner. Get a huge run, Castro.
Ooh.
Oh, huge truck. Something must have happened with Castro. Gornick goes off the track into the barrier with 2 laps to go. The last thing Joey Stone wants to see is a yellow. We're seeing Joey Stone get a little hit as the yellow comes out. Holy cow.
You can just feel the emotion and the pressure that these guys are under. Into the first corner they go.
A little bit of contact here for first place. 3 wide off into turn 2. Where did Brandon Gritton come from? As we see Kyle Arnold completely sends it, delivers some payback right there.
Ooh, around goes Castro. Castro looks like he maybe just lost control there. Maybe another shifter issue. Josh Parker, he may go back to back here. Over the hill he goes. You can see the celebration already starting. Josh Parker, once again, a winner here in the eNASCAR Heat Pro League.
2 in a row. Looks like our season's finally turning around. Big thanks to Toyota, Joe Gibbs Racing, Interstate Batteries, everyone who gave me this opportunity. We're going to go to Vegas and we're going to try to win that one as well.
2 in a row for Josh Parker. He looks to make it 3 in a row tonight at Las Vegas. And you can see all of our drivers hanging out here in our virtual drivers room. And prior to tonight's race, Rusty, they actually got some words from an official of NASCAR helping direct this drivers meeting, because there's a lot on the line tonight. And we want to make sure that, again, these drivers are all on their best behavior, but at the same time, they race as hard as they possibly can, but putting on good competition overall.
Yeah, we just had to remind the drivers, think of the big picture here, take care of each other, and most importantly, put on a show, because that's what we're here to see. And Las Vegas puts on probably the best show in NASCAR Heat 4. And this is the last time we're going to play NASCAR Heat 4, is next week we're going to head to NASCAR Heat 5.
Absolutely looking forward to racing on NASCAR Heat 5, and we'll talk about that more a little bit later. But tonight, right now, those PlayStation drivers on the racetrack, 60 laps slated for them, 3 times that tire wear. Full damage on this 1.5 miles out in the desert. We are in for a good one. So let's take a look here at your starting lineup for the PlayStation drivers. On the front row, leading the field, Corey Rothgib for Team Penske Esports. Joey Stone outside of him, Cody Giles in row 2, and Josh Harbin for Levine Family Gaming outside of him.
We're take a look at row 3 and 4 here, completely stacked. Your defending champion, Brandon Gritton. Segment 2 winner there is right there. Josh Parker, your hottest driver. Mike Bross, Kyle Arnold. Keep an eye on row 4.
And rounding out the rest of the field in row 5, Brandon Hanna. Outside of him, Joe Gornick had a good run at the road course, but trying to get a good run here on an oval. Row 6, TJ McGowan and Maxwell Castro. And rounding out your field in row 7, trying to make their way to the front, is Jason Mitchell and Nick Jobs. And again, we learned a little bit more about him in that video just a little bit ago. So Nick Jobs looking for another good run this evening here at Las Vegas. Rusty, any last thoughts here? We're getting ready to come green. It's going to be a wild one.
Yeah, you're going to see a strategy be dictated right off the bat on the very first lap of this race. Nick Jobs might set up his race-winning strategy on the very first corner. So keep an eye on these guys and where they position themselves here in the opening part of the race. But we're coming to green here on the season finale of the NASCAR Heat Pro League.
Absolutely. Last race of the regular season. They'll have one more shot to get in, but this is the race you want to win for points. Coming out of turn 4, the field will come down the front stretch through the sweep here, and Corey Rothgib, Joey Stone on the front row. The green flag is in the air. for your PlayStation race, the final race of the regular Pro League season.
And I'm already seeing Joey Stone work his way to the bottom. That couldn't have worked out better for the driver, the number 8. Corey Rothkop's going to lead him off turn 2, but the field is already getting a little excited on the exit of turn 2 as they're heading off into turn 3 for the first time here tonight. Let's see if they can keep it clean.
Josh Harbin to the bottom there. He's gotten Cody Giles and Kyle Arnold stuck on the outside, but Joey Stone all of a sudden went from attack mode to protect mode early on in the race, was all over the back bumper of Corey Rothkop, but now he's got Cody Giles hot on his tail. Those 3 now single file with the rest of the field 4th through about 7th, double file behind them. Again, 60 laps is the distance here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Josh Parker, wow, lost a lot of room there. You can see him, that green car, as we ride along here with Corey Rothkop. Josh Parker lost a lot of ground there, Rusty.
Yeah, trying to work his way back in line here. You see him exit the corner a little bit low on 4. Maybe he's just he's already maybe dictating his strategy a little bit here, but if it's your first time tuning in here tonight, as a reminder, the PlayStation 4 drivers, the competition is so high. Literally anyone out here on the track can win here today. As you see a Corey Rothkop leading the field, that doesn't mean he's going to win this thing. Anybody could literally win here tonight, and I'm really going to keep my eye on the back of the pack here, the pace of some of these drivers that are kind of falling back. Maybe they're setting themselves up for a 2-stop strategy. Maybe the other guys are going for 3. So keep an eye on where guys are kind of shuffling out in the running order here in the opening laps.
And that fuel mileage being roughly 21 to 22 laps. They've been practicing all week long for tonight's race on that fuel strategy. So like you said, Rusty, we highly anticipate a couple different strategies as guys try to get in a final regular season win. But when it comes down to who will go to the championship from tonight's race, we already have 2 drivers locked in here on the PlayStation side, Maxwell Castro and Brandon Gritton. So those drivers will race in that championship finale, but only one will lock in from tonight, and right now, points calculating wise, it looks like Josh Parker may be the lock for tonight's race, Rusty.
Yeah, Parker pretty much just had to start the race and finish the race to lock himself into the championship. But we've seen if anything can happen with these penalties after the race, maybe something out of his control will happen. But Parker, so far right now, is unofficially locked into the championship race.
And these drivers will have one more chance after tonight's race to lock in. There'll be a wild card race a week from today that they'll get the chance to race one more time on the high banks of Daytona International Speedway for that chance to lock in to the championship finale, which is yet to be determined on that date. But again, that wild card race a week away. Right now, Corey Rothkop leads your field still. Joey Stone, Cody Giles, Josh Harbin, and Kyle Arnold, your top 5. Really the top 6, Brandon Gritton leading the tail end of that, has started to break away from the field, Rusty.
Yeah, I think this is all according to plan right here, especially with the number 2, 8, and 16 out front, even Josh Harbin. These guys practice together. They probably have a similar gearing and setup underneath their car, so I think they're just all pacing each other right now. Maybe Corey's burning up a little more fuel than he anticipated, but this is probably all according to plan for the top 4. But we know Brandon Gritton and even Kyle Arnold right in front of them. These guys are going to work their way to the front if they see an opportunity to pass, especially Brandon Gritton. He's not afraid to send it on the bottom and kind of shake up the running order. So look at Brandon Gritton and maybe kind of pressure these guys and maybe try to shuffle up the running order up front.
And riding along again with your leader of Corey Rothkop in that Worth Penske car. Again, I wish we, at the beginning of the show, I have a lovely hat. I match Corey Rothkop right now, so shout out to our friends over at Worth for hooking me up with that hat. Jake Morris, I'm still looking at you. You talk about bribery all the time in the Stuart Haas side of things, but here we are, and there's a Penske driver leading at the moment. So again, Corey Rothkop, a great run so far tonight for him. Pulled away there just a little bit from Joey Stone. There, you can see it there now. Corey Rothkop with that stylish hat. I love it. I've got one now, so I appreciate the love, Team Penske. But Joey Stone is still looking for that breakthrough moment. Looked like he maybe had it 2 weeks ago at Auto Club. Ran well last week at Road America. Ooh, and he's getting challenged right now. Almost 3 wide here between Josh Harbin and Cody Giles.
Yeah, Joey Stone is definitely a driver to keep your eye on. Even though he's out of contention for the segment win, he has the potential to go on to Daytona and get into the championship. And he's had the speed all season. He's put himself in position all season. You see him running top 5 all season, and he's just kind of hanging out right now. You saw him get a little bit defensive in front of Josh Harbin and Cody Giles there on the bottom, but that's what you got to do here. And he's just kind of hanging out behind Corey. And you saw Corey, he's kind of communicating to these guys to let them know what's going through his head, what he's thinking out front, maybe talking how his car is feeling. But these guys out front are just kind of like keeping the field behind him. You see him get 2 and 3 wide back here with Kyle Arnold and Josh Parker. This is good.
Little Rubbins racing there for Parker and, or I'm sorry, Josh Harbin and Kyle Arnold. A little tap by Arnold to remind Harbin, hey, I'm here. But right behind him, you've got Parker and Gritton. This group of about 4th through 8th right now is racing hard. Again, 50 laps still to go, riding along with Kyle Arnold, who has been trying all season long to lock himself into that championship. He's been close, but has been unable to seal that deal. He rides in the 5th spot right now. His chance looking more and more like the wild card race next week to lock in, but good run here by him. Goes to the bottom, but we jump up with the 2 car of Corey Rothgibb. So we have a new leader, Joey Stone, now your leader. Cody Giles in the 2nd spot, and Corey Rothgibb now going to slip back behind Harbin for the 4th spot.
And this is the fun part of the run where the tires start to transition, where they start to go away from you. Get a little bit of a less grip through the center and the exit of the corner. So as you can see right there, the guys like kind of slide into each other, and that's just what makes it so fun at Las Vegas. And you're going to see the running order kind of shuffle up due to that. And when they get down to about 5 laps to go on these tires, they're going to be completely gone, and they're going to be sideways. The rear end's going to be coming around. So each lap going forward, you're going to see these guys working harder and harder behind the wheel.
And the race continues on here. Again, 60 laps in total. Lap 48. Josh Harbin now in the 3rd spot. Again, he's a returner from season 1, and he had a great breakout season, but has been looking to find that speed. Got a win earlier in the season, but has been looking for those consistent runs. Seems to be caught up in a lot of situations that don't get him the finishes that his team, looks to have it. But it's been a good run for Levine Family Gaming thus far. In that 3rd spot, his teammate as well, running well. But again, Kyle Arnold, also one of those drivers that carried a lot of speed. We've seen him collect wins at road courses and is still looking for that bobble there by Josh Harbin. That allows Corey Rothgibb and Kyle Arnold to close the gap. All focus on that Team Penske driver's face at the bottom of your screen. Corey Rothgibb, Josh Harbin definitely up on the wheel trying to maintain, and here comes Kyle Arnold on the outside, Rusty.
Yeah, I love that view. But Kyle Arnold's working his way on the outside. He's making it stick out there. And you have the option to do that at Las Vegas in this game. It's a multi-groove racetrack. The bottom is obviously the preferred line here. It's the fastest way around. But you can get the outside working. You can build some momentum, especially if the bottom gets stacked up. We see Kyle Arnold get the big run on the outside here, dive underneath Corey Rothgibb to pick up. We'll see how he manages the exit of the corner here. But he's looking to get up into the top 4 here today with Josh Parker right behind him. Until, we got a little bit of contact off the exit of the corner. But this is just part of racing at Las Vegas. This is you're seeing the master at work with Kyle Arnold working his way forward.
And they are using the entire track surface, going down below that white line on the front stretch, on the back stretch, taking advantage of everything in multiple grooves of racing right now. Often we go to racetracks, Rusty, where you get on that outside line and you're pretty much fed to the wolves. That you're going to be able to hold on to that. You lose the draft, you get out of it. But here at Las Vegas right now, we've got a multiple groove racetrack for the most part. As we can see, we've got guys racing for 4th right now with Rothgibb and Parker, who are running side by side lap after lap, and that's going to be tough on their equipment early on in the race.
Yeah, the guys kind of pressure each other into making the corner and committing to the corner and just racing harder than they probably want to as they're kind of either fading back or working their way forward in the field. But the fun part is when you see them 2 by 2 by 2, they're getting a pretty good draft on the cars in front of them, and that gives the guys behind them big runs into the corner to maybe pressure the guys into making a mistake and make them run harder than they want to. But that's what makes Las Vegas so fun. It's just you kind of you're like flying out there, especially when you get in the draft, and you can see these guys literally right off each other's bumper. They make it look easy, but I'll tell you, this is really hard to do, to stay that close to that guy and hit your marks that perfectly and not make a mistake. When the draft is going to be in effect, if you make a mistake, they're going to go flying by you. But you see Cody Giles right there in the back of Joey Stone. Joey Stone leading the laps. This has got to be a good feeling for Joey. He's like we've talked about. He's been in position, but can he stay in position and kind of put him in contention for his first career win?
And Joey's hands down one of the most eccentric and one of the biggest personalities that we have here in the eNASCAR Heat Pro League, heavily involved in the YouTube community, and Rusty, he's one of the most inviting guys as well. Anyone that's recently gotten their hands on the new NASCAR Heat 5, the Gold Edition, or whether you were able to snag NASCAR Heat 5 just a week or so ago, if you're looking to break into the community, Joey Stone is hands down one of the people to go to for information, for help, or ultimately just a friendship here in NASCAR Heat.
You described it perfectly. That perfectly explains what Joey Stone is all about in the community. You'll probably see him after tonight's race in the public lobbies, and he's always there. People are always asking questions, and he's providing information about just setups, what sliders to run if you're not using a setup. He's one of the experts you can lean on, and he's always there for the community. He's been racing basically every single day since the game has been launched, so keep an eye out for Joey Stone. He might even hop into your lobby here one of these days and kind of surprise you with that Caterpillar car. Joey Stone and Kyle Arnold are two of the guys in the community you can race with, and pit stops are underway. This is the first scheduled of the two strategies we're going to see here today, but these are right on schedule right now.
Wow, we just saw Nick Jobs actually come into pit road to hot spun around there, so that'll be a really tough pit stop for Nick Jobs. A couple of those guys bobbled as well. Tough getting these cars slowed down under these green flag pit stops, but right now about half your field has come down pit road. Joey Stone, Cody Giles, Josh Harbin, Kyle Arnold, Josh Parker, Max Castro, and Nick Jones. And here comes the rest of the field. So your leader, Brandon Gritton, will now cycle and bring down the rest of the field through pit road. Mike Bross, that lone driver, and he comes down pit road as well. So your whole field now has come down pit road between lap 39 and 40. Rusty, they are going to have to come down one other time. Will anyone cut it close?
You know, once you pressure these guys to race hard, you're going to burn up a little fuel, but it's always going to be on the back of their mind. You got to save, but while you're competing. But everybody came on the same schedule and strategy together. I'm kind of shocked by that, but I am impressed that they because I talked to these guys before the race, and they usually tell me the truth. But some of these guys, they're lying when they for tonight's race. But you're going to see the field kind of blend together here on the exit of the backstretch here and see where the running order plays itself out. We saw Joey Stone lose the lead, and we see, a little bit of contact on the apron coming out of the pits. That's going to be trouble for those drivers as they're going to lose the draft coming down the backstretch. Brandon Gritton might have a little sniff on it there, but that's going to play a huge factor in those guys' races in the back of the half of the pack.
Looked like Joe Gornick involved in that contact there. Currently runs in the 10th position. Everyone now up on the racing surface trying to catch the rest of the pack, but you'd mentioned it there, Rusty. Cody Giles, now your leader. Joey Stone is going to have to try and get that lead back, but he's got Josh Harbin hot on his heels, and you see there on your screen that pack that came and tried to blend, had the contact. Brandon Hanna, Jason Mitchell, Corey Rothgibb in that group. So Rothgibb, who was at the front of the field, your pole sitter, now runs in that 11th position. Do we think that maybe he had a slow stop there, Rusty?
He could have gotten dinged for a speeding penalty on the entry to pit road right there. It's hard to tell with everybody pulling in together, but that's unfortunate because he was on the pole. He has speed. He was looking for that second win on the season day, but he's got a lot of work to do, and the guys in the back of the pack are going to have to work together to get in a single file line and draft with each other the race towards the front. But if these guys up front are doing their thing like you're seeing right here, it's going to be very tough for Corey Rothgeb to work his way forward here. But anything can happen, especially as we see when a yellow comes out. But I always love these views. These guys get up on the Fanatec wheel, a different style of driving. Cody Giles just laying back, just hanging out while he's leading the race. He wouldn't even know it. Joey Stone, he's locked in and focused. He's like, I would love to just jump on his radio right now and say, Joey, give us the $1 million smile, baby. But he's right where he wants to be in this lead pack in the top 5. This is playing out perfectly for Cody Giles and Joey Stone right now.
And Josh Parker running in that 4th spot, won the past 2 races. And we've seen a new confidence from him, Rusty. I mean, to win 2 races back-to-back here in the eNASCAR Heat Pro League and then turn around, currently be running 4th, that's got to do something for these drivers' confidence, and we're seeing it play out right here in front of us tonight at Las Vegas.
Yeah, Josh Parker's had a lot of speed lately, but he's also had a lot of luck. Some of these yellows have kind of inverted the field late in the race, but he's taken advantage, and he hasn't made really any mistakes. And the best part about Josh Parker, he runs everybody really, really clean from what I've seen. So he's got a lot of respect out there. He's earning it, and he's just kind of being like the consummate professional in the Pro League. So you love to see Josh Parker have his performance pay off, all the hard work, the dedication to these setups. Some of these other guys, they just have bad luck, but currently, segment 3, Josh Parker has been the man as he's currently locked into the championship.
And you love to see it again. Everyone racing here for that win as well as a potential chance to lock in. Josh Parker looking to be the favorite points-wise. So Josh Parker is sitting pretty in that 4th spot. But to win is an extra $2,000 regardless. Part of the prize money here in the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. And all of these drivers want a little extra cash in their pocket. Cody Giles, though, leading 34 laps to go. Joey Stone hot on his tracks as we ride along with that Wood Brothers Gaming driver. Nose to tail, your top 4, top 5, including Kyle Arnold trying to break in. Brandon Gritton, you can see him back there, trailed by Maxwell Castro in the 7th spot. If the laps continue to wind down, I think these guys are being patient, Rusty. This is something we often see here with some of our PlayStation drivers, is a little bit of patience displayed, but we are expected to come down pit road one more time, and then it looked like Joey Stone was going to make a move there for that win, or for that lead position. But when this group comes down pit road again, or if we see a caution, I think that's when we'll see the gloves come off.
Yeah, and especially once it's kind of down to winning, it's race winning time. You see these guys; they don't give any more breaks. They stop lifting. They start sending it. And but you saw Joey Stone right there. He kind of weaved down the inside of the racetrack. I wonder if he lost his momentum off of 4. And you've seen him slide up here once again. I wonder if the tires are really going away here on the 8 cars. He's fading back through the top 5. He's really got to stay in contact with the leaders here, and hopefully not lose the lead draft, because it's very important to be up here in the top 5. But we can see the second groove play into it here. You see Josh Parker, Joey Stone on the wheel. The second groove, these tires, the racing, it just shows you have options here at Las Vegas. Oh, we're going to see a little bit of contact with Josh Harbin and Kyle Arnold. But this is heating up, like you said. Something might have flipped the switch there with the driver of the 8, and these guys are getting excited. They're taking advantage of him here with 30 to go.
Ooh. And contact, as you can see, Joey Stone goes around Josh Harbin through the infield, as well as Kyle Arnold. Almost too quick to call. The caution is out here at Las Vegas. Ooh, we almost jinxed him there, I think, Rusty, because that top 4 now has caused the caution. I believe your leader was out of it, but we'll have to see if we can get a replay there on that. Looked like it may have started with Harbin and Kyle Arnold, and a couple others were involved as well. This could switch everything up here, Rusty. Do you think that it's too close for them to come down pit road, or will we see these drivers come down pit road and use this as their pit window?
You could see a mix of strategies here with the guys taking fuel, 2 tires, 4 tires. But I think we're going to see a replay right here to check out what happened.
And Josh Harbin on the bottom inside of Joey Stone. Little wobble, gets into Kyle Arnold, and they come into the corner a little hot here. You have to wonder where this contact started. This group was rubbing and racing that entire time. They've been touchy all. Ooh, Kyle Arnold into the back bumper of Joey Stone and into Harbin, and then everyone behind Joey Stone just part of that wreck. That's some tough luck right there, and some rough racing there from Kyle Arnold. I don't think it was anything intentional, but you just hate to see it that late in a race.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe Josh Harbin might have gotten the left ear of Joey, so maybe sent him on the exit up at the racetrack and kind of hit that right at that point on the exit of turn 4. And Kyle Arnold just happened to be there. It's just kind of a racing deal, but you had called it earlier. The aggression has amped up, and when this yellow coming out right here, this kind of changes everything. With 27 to go, they better have a fuel saving mode right here, or they're going all out right now and going to split the same half. So this could be an even bigger gamble on strategy than we saw coming into the race.
Well, the green flag is back in the air for the PlayStation drivers. We're more than halfway through this race. 26 laps to go at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Cody Giles still your leader, but Maxwell Castro now runs in the 2nd spot, battles side by side with Josh Parker as they go through the corner here. But right in that 4th spot, lurking right behind them is Brandon Gritton, now in a perfect opportunity, Rusty, to start using some elbows.
Yeah, this always puts a big smile on my face as a fan of kind of the entertaining racing we see in the Pro League. When Brandon Gritton is up in the mix, get the camera on him, because there's going to be some contact or a crazy move you didn't even think was possible. As you see him working the high side here, he's definitely going to try to get a run on the outside of Maxwell Castro here. Let's see what he's going to do with Josh Parker as they kind of take the outside here. They're pushing each other. You see the draft working there. Josh Parker sends it in the bottom, perfectly executed by those 2 drivers. But Brandon Gritton is working his way forward, and anything could happen when he starts to work his way to the front.
Always showing speed and known for that aggression out of Stewart Haas Esports. Brandon Gritton now in the 3rd spot. Him and Josh Parker really working together though right now, Rusty, as Gritton continues to push Josh Parker down the straightaway. They're catching Cody Giles. He's got to be looking in his rearview mirror right now, seeing these 2 cars who have shown speed and a lot of it the last part of this segment. In his rearview mirror, he's got to be a little worried right now.
Yeah, I think Josh Parker might even be more worried, because he doesn't have a choice. Brandon Gritton is just right on him as close as you can get, pushing him and pushing him, pushing him to try to close the gap to the lead. But this could get interesting with Brandon Gritton right there on the back end of the 18, because we know Josh Parker, like we talked about, respectful, clean driver, but The patience in the 14, it might reveal itself here as he's gonna look to probably make a pass here down in turn 3. He hangs out for right now, but yeah, Cody Giles is managing the race, managing the run. Oh, Josh Parker dives underneath him and is going for the lead out the exit at turn 4. This is getting good.
And Josh Parker, now your new leader, but not without a battle behind him between Gritton. Giles stuck on the outside. Castro now on the inside. Part of the train that has left Cody Giles out to dry. High on the racetrack. Joe Gornick now will try and get past Cody Giles for that 4th spot. But new leader, Josh Parker, and take a look there, your live standings here for the segment. 129 points. Josh Parker pretty much well has this locked up because Brandon Gritton has already locked himself in to the segment. And again, Maxwell Castro locked himself in during segment 1. So Josh Parker with a good run like this, and again, having just started the race, is locked in. But Brandon Gritton has a couple wins to his resume already, wants that extra $2,000. New leader as Brandon Gritton takes the lead from Josh Parker.
Brandon Gritton is on it, but the cool thing that you mentioned, all of our segment winners are up in the top 3. Maxwell Castro won segment 1, Brandon Gritton won segment 2, Josh Parker is about to win segment 3, so this is cool to see the 3 strongest, or arguably the 3 strongest drivers up there competing for the win here at Las Vegas, and this is just getting more and more intense and competitive as the races go on. You can see like they flipped the switch. Early on in the race, they're being patient, riding in line. Right now, if they see an opportunity, they're going for it. As you see Joe Gornick maybe looking at for 3 wide down the backstretch, he decides better. He's going to get in line behind Maxwell Castro, kind of give him the push off into turn 3. But I like seeing Joe Gornick. The luck is on his side so far here tonight. Hopefully I didn't jinx it, but the 7 car is strong late in the race.
And Joe Gornick, a great run from at the moment, running in that 5th spot, goes inside Cody Giles for 4th. And now inside of Maxwell Castro. Castro called a close one there. Clears himself in front of Joe Gornick. Those two still battling for the 4th spot. Corey Rothgeb again up to the 6th spot. Ooh, looked like there might have been some contact there with the wall. Either Castro or Josh Parker, but everyone's still going straight forward. Now to the outside of Rothgeb is Jason Mitchell. Again, a good run for him with Go Fast Gaming. This whole group here, from pretty much 4th on back, Gornick to about Mike Bross right now, is getting wild, Rusty.
As a race car driver, you live for this moment right here at Las Vegas. Everybody's slipping and sliding around, taking advantage of each other. Guys are getting up in the wall. Mike Bross is probably frustrated. The guys are battling 3 wide in front of him. He just wants to go forward, but he's got to be patient. He's got to keep the big picture in his mind here. They're kind of sorting it out as they head it down into turn 3, but that's what you live here at Las Vegas. The multi-groove racing, the draft that plays a factor. It's just really fun to wheel these race cars around. As we see Joey Stone maybe using a little bit more aggression here late in the race. We saw him leading the race, so he knows the time is now. He's got to work his way forward. So keep an eye on this pack right here. We could see some more contact and some drama unfold.
And the drama still coming as we have 17 laps to go. Looking to the bottom there, ooh, Joey Stone trying to make a 3-wide move, but decides the better of it, slides back in line behind Corey Rothgeb and Jason Mitchell. Again, it was a good run for Joey Stone early on, trying to make his way back up after being involved in that wreck with Josh Harbin and Kyle Arnold. Arnold and Harbin now 2 and 3 laps down, respectively, so their chances for tonight's win at Las Vegas Motor Speedway are pretty much out the window at the moment. But Brandon Gritton, Josh Parker battle for the lead. Side by side, they go down the straightaway. Castro in the catbird seat waiting for these two, because if something's going to happen, it's going to happen here with Brandon Gritton and 15 laps to go, Rusty.
This is so good. We have a 3-way battle. What is Maxwell Castro thought about putting it 3 wide for the lead? Look at the run he's getting there on the bottom. He's kind of deciding in his mind, who do I push? Who do I go with? Where's the faster line? But we're right on board here with Brandon Gritton. He's sawing on that thing. Josh Parker, he's locked in and focused, trying to hold it on the bottom off the exit of turn 2, where it does get a little bit treacherous as your car kind of works way through the transition. But Maxwell Castro has a run on the inside of Brandon Gritton. He had a perfect entry into turn 3. You can see him slide up in front of Brandon Gritton. This race is really heating up here tonight.
Josh Parker in protect mode as he tries to hold Castro and Gritton behind him. Ooh, Joey Stone goes around at the tail end of the field. Jason Mitchell tried to come down pit road. Mitchell's on pit road, but Joey Stone spins around. We'll see if the caution comes out or if Stone will be able to keep it going forward. And there's that caution flag. So caution comes out with under 15 laps to go here at Las Vegas for the PlayStation race. Josh Parker, your leader over Castro and Brandon Gritton. Here is where things are going to get heated up, Rusty.
Holy cow. The first part of this race, they were kind of patient and calm. Second phase of this race, it was like, all right, they're starting to take the gloves off. But right here, right now, they're all coming in, taking tires of gas. This is going to be the craziest race at Las Vegas you have ever seen. Expect these guys to lay it all out on the table and go all in. Going forward. We're going to replay right here. So you see, yeah, a little bit of contact and miscommunication on pit road entry with Joey Stone and maybe TJ McGowan there. But yeah, just maybe just a little bit of stack up on entry there.
Yeah, tough break for Joey Stone. He had a good run going tonight. Not how he wanted to end the regular season here, but we will re-rack him, restack him, and get ready to send him here at Las Vegas. Your front row being Castro and Jason Mitchell, it looks like, on the inside of Maxwell Castro. Green flag back in the air for the PlayStation platform.
Major strategy gamble from Jason Mitchell. He's going to really have to hold on here with the leaders behind him. Let's see how if he's able to do it. But Jason Mitchell's a guy that hasn't really ran out front all season, so this is his first time. But you see him already on the exit of turn 2. The tires of Maxwell Castro is paying off, and he's going to send it here off into turn 3 and take the lead.
Castro with a great start to the season, joining Chip Ganassi Gaming, locked in. Lost a little bit of that momentum midway through the season. 3-4 wide through the corner here. These guys all the way fanned out, going down the backstretch. It is an absolute hornet's nest. Mitchell still has the lead. Josh Parker with a little love tap saying, I am here. 10 laps to go at Las Vegas. Cody Giles now in that third spot. Brandon Gritton and Brandon Hanna. Brandon Hanna with a good run tonight in that 5th spot, goes to the bottom, gets a push, now alongside Josh Parker for the 2nd spot as we continue to ride along with your leader of Jason Mitchell. This is great racing, Rusty, for 2nd through about, well, the rest of the field.
This is what he wants to see. All the guys 3x3 behind him racing because they're going to slow each other down. Impressive run for Brandon Hanna. He's in the preferred line on the bottom, so he's going to hold on to the top 3 position here. He's working under Josh Parker. Really strong run here for Brandon Hanna. Let's see how he decides to manage his entry off into turn 3. He decides to keep it on the bottom, keep it in line there. And they're going to be 2x2, I think, the rest of the way. And we're going to see 3 wide, 4 wide passes as you see the guys back in the pack, like Joey Stone, Joe Gornick, Colorado. They're going to try to work their way forward up in the running order with 9 to go. This is going to heat up really big time here.
Brandon Hanna and Josh Parker bouncing off of each other a little bit for that 2nd spot, but 2x2 till about 7th place. Brandon Hanna on the inside challenging Josh Parker. They continue to swap back and forth on the placement ticker. Josh Parker, though, with the momentum, just barely edging Brandon Hanna through the corner. Corey Rothgib now has worked his way back up on that outside groove. He continues to be there, as well as Mike Bross. Ooh, Cody Giles. Brandon Gritton takes it 3 wide, bounces off of Cody Giles and Corey Rothgib. Those 3 wide for about the 5th spot. Josh Parker holds on to it in the 2nd place in front of them. Brandon Gritton running the middle of the lane, Rusty. He's trying to make it 3 wide once again.
Yeah, we talked about Brandon Gritton. He's going to try to put anywhere that you can fit a car. And even if there isn't room, he's going to try to force his way through. He's getting a little impatient here, but it is time to go. I'm curious if he's going to have the perspective of the penalties in his mind here late in this race, if he's going to continue to be one of the most aggressive drivers, or if he's just going to kind of play it cool and play big picture, because he still has a championship to go win. So keep an eye on the driver of the 14 to see if he's kind of changed his driving style, or if he's still going to go all in for these wins like he talks about. That's his mission, is to win every single race, no matter what, at any cost. So keep an eye on the 14. Cody Giles is trying to work his way back up to the front. I'm just shocked they're still able to run 2x2, and that's just how great of a racetrack Las Vegas is in NASCAR Heat 4. You can put him just about anywhere and be competitive and have fun out there, and you can see kind of the draft start to pay off here as we're going to get a big run down the front stretch. Josh Parker is trying to reel in Jason Mitchell. This is getting, Cody Giles sends it on Brandon Hanna, looking to work his way up into 3rd place. Strong run for Cody Giles. He led early, and he's working. He's going to try to win this race here today, obviously, but I'm really impressed to see these guys go from the front to back, all the way back front with 5 to go.
And you said it, 5 laps to go here at Las Vegas. There was a bobble there by Jason Mitchell, your leader. That allowed Josh Parker to close the gap, just less than a car length between your leader and 2nd place. Brandon Hanna, wow, high up into the corner, bounces off the wall, gets into the wall. I do believe, he may have held on to it, but I do believe Brandon Hanna, part of the contact there, was running up in the front. Josh Parker and Cody Giles now linked up. Parker to the bottom for the lead. He gets to the inside, not quite. Jason Mitchell still with the lead. These guys are working together as we now have a battle once again for the lead, Rusty.
A little bit of chess match up front right now. Josh Parker does have a run, but Cody Giles is trying to decide, what do I do? Do I go 3 wide for the lead, or do I push Josh Parker through to the lead and pull into P2? So this is going to be interesting to watch on the backstretch, what these guys are going to do when they get a huge run. Brandon Gritton's going to get a monster run here back in P4. This, you can see them make contact here. This is going to get insane off into turn 3. What is Josh Parker going to do? He kind of sends it in there nice and respectfully, but Cody Giles is right there peeking on the bottom as they're beating him, banging out the exit of turn 4. Huge wreck. This is definitely going to bring out the yellow with 2 to go at Las Vegas, but we're still green. And there's the yellow.
And there's that caution flag. Jason Mitchell simply ran out of room on the outside of the racetrack, bounced it off the wall, took a couple of drivers with him, and when you're on the outside of the front row, it is not good when you make contact with the wall and go around in the rest of the field. This is going to have huge finishing implications. A lot of those guys, those front runners involved in that wreck. We'll have to see if we can get a replay here of that wreck. That is wild. And here's that replay again, coming through the corner. This group was racing so hard. Jason Mitchell into the wall, and the rest is history. A couple guys, Joey Stone looked like it maybe went through the infield. Tough break for Mitchell. Gambled, and it almost paid off for him, Rusty.
Yeah, unfortunate to see his day end like that, because he was hanging on, driving hard out front. But these guys are driving so fast, there's little room for error when you do make contact, especially when you're flying on the exit turn 4. It kind of sends you up on the exit of the track, and we saw that happen, unfortunately, to Jason Mitchell. But we're going to see these guys re-rack and stack here. We saw the last couple of weeks, anything can happen here on these final restarts of the race. But it looks like Mitchell was able to keep the lead through the exchange of pit stops.
And still on the front row, quickly dropping though, clearly not taking tires, getting eaten up by those who did. Parker now your leader, Gritton on the inside. Parker getting the bump and run, gets shuffled back, holds onto it. Giles now your leader with Gritton on the bottom. These two fighting. Corey Rothgib now high on the racetrack. Everyone bumping and banging off of each other with 2 laps to go, Rusty.
And Cody Giles is pulling away. He's loving seeing these guys beat bang off each other. We saw a lot of drama there with 2 to go. Guys, patience is out the window. Brandon Gritton sent it on Josh Parker. There's a lot of contact around that 14 car here tonight and all season, but Cody Giles is pulling away, and he loves to see these guys in his mirror just battling it out. So Cody Giles looks like he's going to win the final race in the regular season.
Great run for that Wood Brothers drivers. The battle now for second with Mike Bross and Nick Jobs. Jobs started at the tail end of the field, now runs and battles for that 3rd spot. Checkered flag is in the air for the PlayStation platform. Cody Giles, your winner, your final winner of the regular season here in the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. Joey Stone rallying back to a 4th place finish, as well as Maxwell Castro rounding out your top 5. Great win here for Cody Giles. He'll be $2,000 richer and a good little confidence booster for that Wood Brothers Gaming driver.
Yeah, he's been in contention a lot this year. The luck really hasn't played out in his fortune like it has for maybe a Josh Parker, but he's been one of the fastest drivers, and he's in the community that I've ever raced with. He's an insane driver. But Joey Stone, Nick Jobs, they come from the back and bring it up for a strong top 5 finish, and they love it because they're getting a big payday from that. And every position matters, these guys. I'm going to be talking after the race, and Mike's going to be so hyped about bringing that thing home in P2.
And that's what we love here about the PlayStation platform too. I mean, there's definitely frustration for a driver like Josh Parker. You know, Jason Mitchell took that gamble, but these guys give it all every single race, every single lap. I mean, Brandon Gritton shows up with the full expectation to win, and when he doesn't do so, it doesn't meet those expectations. And I think a lot of these guys feel that way as well. Joey Stone, you'd mentioned, was looking for that breakthrough win, almost had one tonight, but caught up in a couple different accidents. So for Cody Giles, again, it's a good win for them because we're going to the wild card race in just under a week, or just over a week, and to have the confidence of a win and that final opportunity to lock yourself into that championship race, it carries a lot of momentum, Rusty.
Yeah, just to prove to the guys and to your team that you can go out there and get the job done, especially when the competition is this high on the PlayStation 4 side. It means the world to these guys, and I think we're going to see a lot of emotion out of Cody. Everybody in the league loves Cody, so just a lot of respect for that. So it's cool for him to pull it off. But yeah, you talked about it. The wild card at Daytona, a lot of these guys have had that thing circled for a few weeks because they knew they weren't going to win the segment tonight. So we're setting ourselves up for something crazy at that wild card at Daytona.
Yeah, and absolutely. Like you said, we're going to send them loose on Daytona, but we'll try and catch up with the winner here in just a little bit, as well as get those race results from your PlayStation race because it was a wild one. Those final cautions mixed up our field multiple times, but you have to give credit to Jason Mitchell, Rusty, to strategize how he did those final last 10, 15 laps. He had that opportunity right within his grasp. And then it just fell. It fell out of his hands so quickly. He tried to re-gamble again by not coming down pit road in those final 3 laps, and that didn't pay off for him as much as he probably was hoping.
He played it absolutely perfectly. A lot of the guys are probably upset that he stayed out or did that strategy, but that's the perfect thing you need to do as a driver, is to put yourself out front and maybe let the race play out and like play in your favor. But we saw the contact, the beating and banging. It took the race away from him. We had another yellow, so it stole it. But Jason Mitchell, that was really cool to see him hang on out front and be a contender here tonight.
Yeah, you gotta give him credit for taking the gamble at Las Vegas, like you'd mentioned, Rusty. But take a look here again at your race results and how everyone came home from Las Vegas in the PlayStation platform. Cody Giles, again, your winner for Wood Brothers Gaming, the final regular season race for the PlayStation drivers. Mike Bross, great run for that Petty Esports driver in the 2nd spot. And like you said, Rusty, he'll be happy about that. Nick Jobs coming home in 3rd after starting at the tail end of the field. And Joey Stone, again, involved in a lot of those wrecks, comes home in 4th. Maxwell Castro rounds out your top 5 with Corey Rothgeb and Brandon Hanna coming home in 7th.
And about 8th on back here is where a lot of the guys were beating and banging in a lot of contact. Josh Parker, unfortunately, he was so strong that he looked like he was going to go 3 in a row, but ends up in P9. He got a little bit used up there from, I believe it was Brandon Gritton. But Kyle Arnold, another disappointing day for him because he's been one of the strongest all season. But just Josh Harbin, a heartbreak 3 laps down. I know he wanted to be in contention here, but just really, really competitive racing on the PlayStation 4 side at Las Vegas.
And now it's time to take a look here at those driver championship standings. Again, those championship standings being how everyone falls here in this 3rd and final segment. We talked about it at the beginning. Josh Parker pretty much had it locked up, and that he does. This finalizes it. Again, unofficial, but this should finalize it here, locking him into that championship finale race with Gibbs Gaming over Mike Bross. So a good run for him again, but not quite close enough. Comes home in 2nd. Cody Giles, Joey Stone, Brandon Gritton round out your top 5. Everyone else here, with the exception of Brandon Gritton and Maxwell Castro, and now Josh Parker, are going to have that one final shot to race their way in at Daytona, Rusty.
At Daytona, we talked about it. Everyone has this thing circled. It's a wild card. All you need to do, it makes it sound easy. All you need to do is win that thing. But if you win Daytona, you are headed to the championship. So if you didn't win a segment, you still have one more opportunity. So take a look at these guys back here. Their season is not over, and they're going to do anything and everything to win at Daytona to get to the championship.
And again, these points that you just saw are only for segment 3. So take a look here at the total season points, 12 races in total. Had someone who was already locked in won this final and 3rd segment, we would have taken a look at the total season point standings to lock that 3rd and final person in. Hey, we may have that opportunity here in the Xbox race just a little bit away. But for your PlayStation drivers, Brandon Gritton leads the total season points over Maxwell Castro, Mike Bross, Kyle Arnold, Josh Parker, Cody Giles, and Josh Harbin. So things look a little bit different here, Rusty, when you look at it from a total season perspective. But 2 or 3 of the top 5 are going to the championship. So really, it about shakes out.
Yeah, I'm just thoroughly impressed how close those points are in the top 7 there. A lot of these guys, if they just had luck go their way, they could have found themselves into the championship. But you said a Brandon Gritton, Maxwell Castro, Josh Parker, they are in. Mike Bross has an opportunity to get in. But I'm just thinking about Kyle Arnold, one of the strongest drivers all season. But the stakes have been high all season, and they played out to an almost even field through the whole year.
Well, he's locked in to the season finale, the final championship race. Let's take a talk with your segment 3 champion, Josh Parker, who will join us now here in a virtual victory lane. And Josh, first off, can you hear us here?
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you. Perfect. Congratulations here on that segment win. We've talked to you the last 2 weeks coming off of wins, now coming off of a lock-in to the championship finale. What are the emotions knowing, hey, you get a chance here to officially race for the eNASCAR Heat Pro League Championship?
I mean, the emotions were pretty good. It was I had pretty much locked going in this segment. Going in this race, and my goal was to win, to keep the momentum going, and I had 3 in a row there. you know, I know everyone at Stuart Haas obviously has targeted been the last few weeks, and Jake over there has been a busy guy defending his drivers, but it sucks being moved out of the way like that for no reason, and I had 3 in a row in the bag. It's good though. Like I said, momentum going into a championship. You know, I came into the season to run for a championship, and that's when I'm locked in now. So I guess I got to be happy.
I know we talked about a little bit of the heartbreak there, losing the race late when you're going for 3 in the world, but congrats again on making the championship. I got to ask about Brandon Gritton. You guys are going to be racing each other for a championship. You've been racing each other all week. It literally kind of comes down with Brandon Gritton in the top 5 every week. How are you going to race him going forward? What do you expect? Are you going to have a conversation? You guys going to get ice cream? What's going on there with the driver of the 14?
I mean, just like real life, people. Obviously, his intent was to drive it into the bottom and not really hit me, but he wasn't going to care if he did, and obviously, so he's obviously going to say sorry, and I'll pretend to take the apology, but you know, racing mindset, you never forget. So running for the big you know, the title, obviously I'm going to race him hard. I'm not going to race dirty. I'm not going to race the way that they've been running all year. It's just not who I am. They know that. I know that. Obviously, I'm going to be aggressive. You saw it today, and my goal is to win. And it's always my goal is to win, and then it's not going to change.
And going into the championship finale, again, combined on both the platforms in Xbox and PlayStation when you do race for that championship. Just for a moment, talk about the competition level here in the eNASCAR Heat Pro League, because not only is it difficult to win, you've done it twice just in this segment, you're locked in, but it's not an easy task to do.
Yeah, like I said, I've been doing this for a long time, between iRacing Coke Series and this, and 2 completely different ball games. You know, people assume I should just come in here and be able to and get a grip on this because of my background, but that wasn't the case. All of last year was a learning experience. I expected to do really well last year, and it just I obviously I got the win, but I knew it was something I was going to be a lot better this year than was last year, just because I got familiar with what to do, and yeah, it's tough. These guys are good. These guys are real good. Obviously, everything that you do, your hobby, you spend a lot of time at, you're going to be good at it. And these guys love this. I love this. Like I said, so the competition is tough. You know, PS4 guys, we got like 7 or 8 of us that have won out of 14. So maybe even more than that. So the competition is really good. Everyone can win on any given day. So it's tough. It's definitely tough.
Well, Josh, once again, you've punched your ticket to the championship. Congratulations. We're looking forward to watching that championship finale and you to battle for that championship.
Thanks, guys. I just want to give a shout out to Fanatec and everyone who runs this league at Motorsports. Jay, everyone's doing a great job. Thanks for the opportunity, and I'll see you guys next week.
Awesome. Again, that's Josh Parker, your segment 3 winner here, punching that ticket to the championship finale. Rusty, those emotions, they're good. We love seeing him. I know that he was probably a little bit more excited when the checkered flag flew, but you can see there the passion that Josh Parker has. But your winner for tonight's race at Las Vegas, we'll get a chance to talk to him here. Cody Giles joins us now. And again, we're going to run back down to our virtual victory lane to catch up with him. Good run for Cody Giles, capturing that win. And it's been a journey for him, let alone to get to this point. But to end the regular season has got to feel good nonetheless in capturing that win.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear from him. Like I said, he's one of the cleanest and most competitive drivers out there. So ending the season on a really good note.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cody joins us now here in our virtual victory lane. Cody, first off, congratulations here. And to get into it, you end the season here on a win. We go to the high banks of Daytona next week to race for that wild card lock-in position. What are the emotions of your win, and how are you feeling about next week?
It's incredible. You know, we try to gain as much as we can every week, and just going into, you know, this week, we were just hoping that something would give. We knew that Road America was not what it was for us as a team, but we came into Vegas, definitely very, very good car, very strategic, and the race came in our hands. You know, on that last restart, I probably had to fight and crawl my way through, but we finally got it, and you know, Daytona is next week. Daytona is going to be a good race. I think it's a good shot for us to get there, and we definitely have the momentum now for next week.
Awesome. Well, Cody, again, congratulations on your win tonight at Las Vegas.
Thank you so much.
And we're looking forward to watching not only Cody, but a couple others race for that final chance in the PlayStation platform next week at Daytona. But NASCAR Heat 5 was released. Get your copy here soon. Take a look at NASCAR Heat 5, as well as our partner, Fanatec, the official wheel of NASCAR Heat, and what you missed last week from Road America on the Xbox side.
NASCAR Heat 5. Refuse to lose.
Welcome to race number 11 of the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. We're going racing tonight at Road America.
The competition and pressure is at an all-time high.
Green flag is in the air at Road America. Instantly contact going into the corner.
Oh, here we go. We get a big send from Slade Craven. Down off in a can in the corner. Holy cow.
That is not something we usually see out of the driver of that Wood Brothers machine.
I mean, seriously? So we just move people out of the way?
Maybe we're seeing those gloves come off today. Too wide off into the corner. They send Nick Walker off with the sand trap.
Whoa, 4 wide through that corner. They're using each other as the brakes, Rusty.
I love seeing these guys not afraid to make contact and work their way through the field.
Like, oh, big wreck.
I have a feeling Nick Walker completely body slammed Diego Alvarado.
He simply had enough. But Afugo, ooh, sends it into the corner.
They were 3x3x3 at Road America for the lead. Matthew Selby, he doesn't care about that points penalty. He's here to win races and do it by any means possible. Holy cow, as we see, Selby may have received payback from Justin Brooks heading off into turn 5.
Whoa, into the corner. Zader just sends it, takes Selby with them, Selby to the wall. And Rusty, we have to imagine that race control right now is in these drivers' ears.
We need track organized right now. That is the most junk.
Coming down to the final corner at Road America.
Wow, defense mode is on for Sam Morris. High, low, Brooks crosses over Morris. Over the hill they go. Justin Brooks down the straight. Across the start finish line, and Justin Brooks will win the Xbox One race.
I was just trying to set up the perfect pass. I was looking in my mirror, gauging how fast the guys behind me were catching me, and he didn't slip up to that last corner. As soon as he did, I threw it in the second gear and gassed it and brought home the checker flag today.
And back here in our driver's room, these guys getting ready for their turn with the Xbox platform race. And Rusty, this situation is a little bit different than our PlayStation drivers. Again, we have Justin Brooks, Daniel Botafuco, who locked in segment 1 and segment 2. But it could come down to the regular season points between Slade, Walker, and Zader. And we'll take a look at those season points here in just a little bit on how that comes down. But there are about 5 drivers, Rusty, in this platform here that can win tonight's segment and lock themselves in.
Before we get to that, check out Nick Walker down in the hot dog suit down on the bottom up on the wheel. It's going to be fun to watch him and ride on board with him. But tonight, we have a ton of drivers that can clinch their way into the championship through different scenarios, either winning the segment or overall season points, as you mentioned. So this is going to be wild here on the Xbox side.
Listen, I'm not biased, but I would love to do a Victory Lane interview with Nick Walker in a hot dog suit. Well, before we get going again, we're going to take a look here at those regular season points. So we want to know how things could shake out for our drivers. And if you take a look here, those unofficial points, Buttafuoco and Justin Brooks, they're already locked in. So Slade Gravett, Nick Walker, and Lewis Zader, your 3rd through 5th point standings in the regular season points. It could come down to that, but that has the potential to change just within a matter of laps, Rusty.
Yeah, if a yellow comes out, we can see the field be inverted. But keep an eye on these total points throughout the race. It's going to change, and it's probably going to come down to this between Slade Gravett, Nick Walker, and Luis Zader. But once again, keep an eye on Sam Morris. He could win the segment if he has a strong day today. And keep an eye on Nick Walker as well.
And your starting order, Justin Brooks, Daniel Buttafuoco, once again here on the front row for your Xbox drivers. Lewis Zader, though, on that second row with Matthew Heel. Zader with a good shot at getting to the front for that win. And let's take a look at row 3, Rusty.
Yeah, row 3 and 4, I believe, are stacked once again. Sam Morris, once again, your segment contending driver, Slade Gravett, a guy to keep an eye on to punch a stick in. Nick Walker, he's going to be strong. Diego Alvarado, he's had a lot of speed lately. Let's see if he can have some maybe good luck tonight and bring that thing home in victory lane.
Yeah, Nick Walker, Diego Alvarado, your row 4. And row 5, Tyler Dohar, Jordan McGraw, Tyler Dohar again. One to watch for the segment win here. Brian Tedeschi and Matthew Selby round out row 6. And in row 7, the tail end of the field is Jose Ruiz and Riley Ogle. So that is your starting field for the Xbox One race here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It is sure to be a wild one. The 2 contenders on the front row here, Rusty. It's going to be a good one.
This is going to be an exciting race start to finish. Brooks and Buttafuoco out front. They're bringing this thing to green. I expect this one to be the wildest race of the season.
And your front row comes to a slow, and the green flag drops in the air. The Xbox One race is underway, the final race of the regular season here in the NASCAR Heat Pro League. Quickly, Justin Brooks out to the front lead. Daniel Buttafuoco, Lewis Zader now in that second row. Buttafuoco with a slow start, Rusty, now slipping back to the 4th spot.
Lost a little momentum there, stuck on the high side, but that's okay. The second groove is fast, and he can make it work. So you can see him. He's already sending it there on the high side. He's going to get a lot of momentum off the exit of turn 4 and probably look at taking a peek underneath the 42 for P2. So a little bit of slow start, but the driver, the 13, Daniel Buttafuoco, will be there here in the next lap for the lead.
Buttafuoco already pushing Lewis Zader in that 3rd spot. Goes to the inside. Buttafuoco quickly now trying to regain the 2nd position where he had started, to the inside of Zader. He will make the move, and we ride along with Justin Brooks, your leader. Buttafuoco clears Zader now for the 2nd spot, and he'll set his eyes on the leader of Justin Brooks for JTG Daugherty. Justin Brooks has been dominant this season, Rusty, and a second dominant would have to be Daniel Buttafuoco. Those 2 at the front of the pack. It's only, big wreck at the tail end of the field, I believe. We may see a caution come out here, and there is that caution. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I had just seen off the tail end of Justin Brooks here a couple cars go flying, Rusty.
Hopefully we get a replay here, but it looks like it was Samuel Morris, the driver number 5, that got sent in the outside line there. Body slammed really hard, or something happened to him. Went really high up into the corner and kind of came back down into the field, and that brought out the yellow. So really bad luck for one of our segment-winning contenders here early in this race. But keep an eye on him. He's going to get that thing fixed on pit road and still be in contention.
Still early on in the race. It could be anyone's race still, like you mentioned, Rusty, with so many laps still to go in tonight's Xbox One race. Daniel Buttafuoco and Justin Brooks, your front runners right now, have been magnets all season long. They have been standouts. It'll be tough for someone to top them on that finish. But Dohar could be on a different fuel strategy, and we'll talk about that here in a second, as your field has been reset under pace lap, but we'll go back to green here at Las Vegas for the PlayStation drivers, Brooks and Buttafuoco. Zader now pushing Justin Brooks, but let's talk about that for a moment, Rusty. The fuel strategy that we've seen from these PlayStation drivers, or Xbox drivers, could be the difference in tonight's race.
Yeah, a lot of the guys are going to be on a different gear setting. They come into these races prepped and prepared for anything at any strategy at any time. But some of these guys with that different gear setup, they can go many more laps than the guys that are out front, and they're intentionally kind of saving pace, saving fuel to maybe cut the race down a stop on strategy. So keep an eye on the guys maybe in the back. Tyler Dohar is definitely a guy that has the ability to save with the best of them, but that's always in these drivers' minds as they prepare for every race. They gotta be prepared to go all out. They gotta be able to save maybe a little bit, and they also got to be able to somehow figure out how to save a few laps, and that's what that custom gear setting and these custom setups can do for these drivers. And they've mastered it to perfection to put themselves in contention, maybe steal a win in these Pro League races.
Riding along with Brian Tedeschi in that Pennzoil machine as he tracks behind Nick Walker on the outside. Those two teamed up to try and get a run, not necessarily working out for them, but Brian Tedeschi, not only an eNASCAR Heat Pro League driver, was also a racer himself on the short tracks, was a late model racer, and now finds himself not quite as it is summer, but at Purdue, where he is going to college there. So a student and an eNASCAR Heat Pro League driver, Tedeschi, a second season returner here in the eNASCAR Heat Pro League, runs in that 8th spot as we ride along with him. Diego Alvarado on the inside has had an up and down season as well. Rusty finds himself at the front often, but battle for the lead now. Justin Brooks, Daniel Buttafuoco side by side. Slade Gravett wants in the middle of that as he tracks along with these two. Buttafuoco and Brooks continually swapping the lead.
The battle between Brooks and Buttafuoco is happening here once again at the front of the field in this Xbox race. These guys are the fastest drivers in the field, but don't look down. Right behind him is Slade Gravett as he's getting a huge draft pull on Buttafuoco on the bottom. He's kind of playing a little bit patient, but he's gonna use that track position there on the bottom to maybe slip past Justin Brooks. We see Buttafuoco wash up a little bit high and kind of lose some momentum there, but Slade Gravett cuts him some slack here, but he's going to push him strong on the backstretch. Nick Walker also on the back of Justin Brooks on the high side. They're working together, but they somehow managed to filter out there through turns 3 and 4 on the exit of the corner, but Brooks is still the leader of this race. Impressively strong run here today.
Justin Brooks has been the class of the field, virtually untouchable, all jokes aside there, for most of the season. And if he's not contending for the win, he's right there in the mix of everything, or simply a race did not go his way. But Justin Brooks has been the standout in the Xbox One. Buttafuoco again right there beside him. Nick Walker, though, already back up to that 3rd spot. It has to be difficult to be driving this Wienermobile car with a hot dog suit on. I'm visualizing there we go. I was going to say I'm visualizing, but take a look here for yourself. Nick Walker posted up there in his, looks like a recliner in his hot dog suit, racing on the Fanatec wheel. This needs to be in an advertisement, Rusty.
Yeah, it's the perfect ad for National Hot Dog Day. He's driving the Wienermobile. Look at him wheeling that thing up into P3 strong run. I'm curious how this is going to play out later in the race as the temperatures and just the aggression raises, see if he's going to be able to keep cool in that thing. But I love it. Look at him. He wouldn't even know he's driving a race car on that Fanatec wheel. As you see Daniel Buttafuoco also, he's got a little smile on his face, just kind of on cruise control. These guys are just enjoying themselves out here tonight. I love to see kind of just the humor in the different side of these drivers as well from Nick Walker. Beautiful thing to see.
You'd almost expect him to jump out of the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, not necessarily a race car in that suit, but you love to see it. And back to the front though, Justin Brooks, Daniel Buttafuoco still nose to tail. Each and every lap, you can see Buttafuoco trying to set up Justin Brooks, but Buttafuoco in the situation, like many of them as they run single file now, is not only looking out the front windshield, but tracking in his rearview mirror because Nick Walker is on a move. He's carrying a lot of speed. He's getting some assistance from Slade Gravett. Ooh, Nick Walker with the move, jumps to the bottom here, trying to challenge Buttafuoco for the 2nd spot. He has the position as those two side by side come down the straightaway. And take a look at those live standings. Again, it may come down to regular season because right now, Brooks and Buttafuoco already locked in. So Slade Gravett runs in the 2nd or the 3rd spot and currently holds atop the regular season point standings. Nick Walker, though, Rusty, is right there. So if Slade Gravett potentially has a bad evening, Nick Walker is in the potential possibility to jump on that opportunity.
Yeah, the two drivers battling for the overall point standings are battling right next to you on the racetrack behind the two best drivers in the field. So this is very important laps they're making right here because they're battling to get to the championship, but they're also trying to just keep kind of respectful racing out there and be there at the end. They don't necessarily want to win that way. I know Nick Walker's had some frustrations throughout the year with some of the competition, but Slade Gravett, he's going to want to win the way he wants to win. We saw him maybe give one away at Auto Club, but he likes to think big picture. He's going to keep it clean. He's going to keep it respectful. So he's right there where he wants to be in P3, but behind Brooks and Buttafuoco, and he's currently atop the overall leaderboard.
And Rusty, we saw a wild race last week at Road Atlanta, and we saw some frustration come out of the young driver of Slade Gravett, who is known for being one of the most respectful and well-respected drivers in the Pro League. And you could just tell last week that he was frustrated with how some of the driving has been. Again, many penalties were assessed after Road America. But do you expect, not even just from Slade, but potentially some of these other guys throughout the field, that last week's frustrations may spill over to tonight's race at Las Vegas?
I'm going to speculate, even though the drivers probably don't want me to. I'm looking at Diego Alvarado. This is the season finale. He's in a position to win a race. That is big time. So I'm curious if the 43 is going to kind of amp up that aggression a little bit and work his way forward. Luis Zader, he's a rookie this year, but he's had speed. He's been kind of taking advantage of, well, he did receive a penalty last week for body slamming. I believe Nick Walker, so we might have some story and some rivalries right in front of us. You see Luis Zader pulling the bottom, but I think we're going to see Luis Zader, maybe Diego Alvarado be the two guys to maybe ramp it up just a little bit to get their first career win in the Pro League.
And you'd love to see it again. Those drivers contending all season long. Alvarado with a good run this evening in 6th has that potential to be there again. He's a West Coaster, so he's familiar with Las Vegas Motor Speedway, a photographer on the weekends for many of NASCAR's regional touring divisions and teams such as the ARCA Menards East and West Series, and a karter himself. So we've got a lot of these guys that have real life racing experience, and a couple others that have never raced anything at all, but call themselves professionals here in the NASCAR Heat Pro League, because that's exactly what they are. They represent these NASCAR teams each and every week. They've done so for 12 races this season, 2 more left to go. Brooks and Buttafuoco still leading your race, though. Gravett now broken away with them, those top 3, a little pack of their own. And it's safe to say that these 3, Rusty, have probably been the most hardest and respectful drivers all season long in racing each other. So this is a perfect scenario for some good, hard, clean racing.
And it's really cool to watch the best in the business do their thing out front, where they're hitting their marks, they're not making mistakes, and they're able to run that close nose to tail, kind of just drafting off each other. Like, and when you pull this up in the game, you can feel the draft. So you get huge runs down the backstretch, and for these guys to manage that, the throttle control, it's just very, very impressive to stay that close and not make a mistake, or even open up the door below you on the entry of the corners to kind of give an opportunity for maybe Nick Walker to peek inside of you. But Slade Gravett, he's just kind of running his race right now, putting it where he needs to be, trying to get to that pit stop window here with the leader. So once again, that's one of my favorite touches, watching these guys up on the Fanatec wheel, being locked in and focused, hitting their marks. Slade's really laser focused in right there, and he's, like I said, he's just hanging out right now in 3rd place and working his way to the pit stop window.
If it weren't for the motion of those Fanatec wheels, you'd have to wonder sometime if some of these guys are blinking and or breathing, because it is pure focus on their faces. Buttafuoco pretty much shadowing Justin Brooks here, watching his every move. And you know that these two race each other, not only here in the Pro League, Rusty, but they race each other each and every week outside of the Pro League. So they're very familiar with each other's racing styles. And it's almost like they're at the point where Buttafuoco can predict Justin's moves.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers have raced against and with each other for years, going back previous generations of NASCAR Heat video games. They do the leagues, they do online lobbies. These guys know each other inside and out. Like they've been competing for years. So when they get to do it on the main stage, you can have a little bit of a familiarity with the guy around you who you're racing with, maybe a different level of respect. Like we see out of Buttafuoco and Brooks, they have nothing but respect for each other. They're always clean around each other. And Slade Gravett, he's always clean, but it's really impressive to see these guys kind of work together for the lead and kind of think big picture as they're trying to win the race.
Taking a look here at the rest of the field, 37 laps to go. We're getting ready to be in a pit window. Well, I called it right there doing the math. My math not as good apparently as these guys, because we've got our first set of pit stop takers. Luis Zader, Matthew Selby, Sam Morris, Matthew Heel, Tyler Dohar, and Jose Ruiz come down pit road. So will we expect to see our next group come down pit road, Rusty, or do you think that strategy could play out a little bit different here?
Yeah, Buttafuoco and Slade just signaled down on there in the backstretch when they went below that white line there. They let them know that they're coming down to let the guys behind them know, hey, we're going to pull off the track, so give us some room. So you see them pull off really, really smooth and clean together. Very kind of conservative entry there in the pit road, but what you need to do, because if you get caught speeding, you're going to get the penalty and you're going to lose the lead pack. So great entry from Gravett and Buttafuoco as they pull in behind our leader, Justin Brooks. And it looks like Riley Ogle, he might be on a little bit different strategy out front. I wonder how much he's going to save or if he's going to pull in soon. But a lot of the guys are out here on the same strategy here tonight.
Yeah, and Riley Ogle, again, teammates with Jason Mitchell, who did a similar thing, but later in the race, different pitch strategy than everyone else, so we'll see everyone cycle through. A couple of these guys getting some warnings, though, from race control on rough driving. Matthew Selby received one of those warnings to try and keep it a little under control. Right now, currently trapped one lap down with how things are cycling through on the pit grid, but we should see everyone back on the lead lap. There you can see it, everyone cycling back through on the lead lap. So Selby has been warned. That Stewart-Haas Esports driver on his driving, so he'll have to be conscious of his moves the rest of the race. Ogle now comes down pit road. That cycles everyone through to Justin Brooks. Lewis Zader now in the second spot, Rusty.
Yeah, I'm shocked to see how this filtered through on where Luis Zader maybe found some speed. I think he picked up maybe at least a half a tenth to a second by pitting early and maybe bringing it down pit road faster than Buttafuoco, so he kind of slipped by him there on the pit cycles. But these guys, second, third, fourth, fifth on back, they really need to work together, get the draft running here to be able to stay in touch with Brooks, because if they lose, like for example, if Buttafuoco loses touch with Zader, his race may be over, but Luis Zader is right there where he wants to be, right there in the draft, right there pulling in behind Justin Brooks. But Justin Brooks, I don't think he's made a mistake pretty much all season, definitely not all race. He's just dominant. He's won 6 poles. He's looking to win his 6th race of the season. This guy is clearly probably the man to beat for the championship overall in the NASCAR Heat Pro League here in a few weeks.
And that championship finale will be announced here shortly. As far as where you can find these guys battle it out for a championship, both the Xbox drivers and PlayStation drivers will come together in one final race to crown a champion, something a little bit different than the inaugural Pro League season that you guys saw last year. So one driver will be crowned that champion, and like you said, Rusty, it would be so hard to count someone like Justin Brooks out, as well as Daniel Buttafuoco. But you talked to Josh Parker just a little bit ago from the Xbox side of things. Parker racing for that championship, as is Brandon Gritton for Stewart-Haas Esports. So we're getting a combination of both of these platforms, and there's been standouts on both sides. So it's going to come down to a battle of the best, and that's how it should be. But it would be so hard to count Justin Brooks out and how consistent he has been this season.
It's pretty much the dream race that when we're going to compete for this championship with. You're going to get Brooks out there, you're going to get Buttafuoco, Castro, Gritton, Parker. It's going to be an unbelievable battle for the championship. So, it's over $60,000 in prize pool money, so they're going to be stepping their game up even more for that race. But yeah, we got to just credit Brooks. He's leading the race right now. Buttafuoco worked his way by Luis Zader there for P2. I wonder if Zader maybe missed his mark, maybe hit the apron and bobbled up a little bit. But Slade Gravett currently running in P4. I have to believe he's leading the overall season points. So yeah, we're going to take a look right here. He's got 20 up on Luis Zader. So Luis Zader's pretty much, he's got to hope Slade Gravett has some issues, because when Brooks or Buttafuoco win the segment, it's going to come down to these overall standings. Slade is right where he wants to be. He's just got to keep it clean and get to the end.
Yeah, Nick Walker was in the contention with those points, but now currently runs in the 12th position. That's knocked him down a couple to take him out right now of that front running spot, or really even close to the leader of Slade Gravett. Take a look here at your lead, Brooks and Buttafuoco. Buttafuoco is pushing Justin Brooks through the corner. These guys enjoying every single lap with 29 laps to go at Las Vegas for your Xbox One drivers. Behind them, though, the battle heating up for the 3rd spot of Nick Walker and Luis Zader. Those guys swapping back and forth, as well as this battle with Tedeschi, Matthew Selby, and Tyler Dohar. Those guys, a little pack of their own, starting to battle. Tedeschi leading those efforts, and on the outside of him, Matthew Selby trying to make that run, but no assistance in helping him.
Yeah, we can see right here, Matthew Selby is giving these guys a lot of room on the high side. He was the guy that was warned early in the race for aggressive driving. So it is cool to see him show a little bit more respect and room out there in the racetrack, but you know he's going to go for it and be there at the end of this race because these Stuart Haas guys, they're aggressive, but they're really fast and can drive towards the front. So I like seeing these little clusters of racing here with Tedeschi, Dohar, Selby, and Heel. You see them kind of get into a line right here. Maybe they're going to try to draft and work together and race their way towards the cluster in front of them, because that's what they need to do. They gotta reel them in and use the draft. Otherwise, the race is pretty much over. Sixth place does pay some money, but you want to get up in that top 5, top 4, and the top 5 is where it pays a lot of points and money. So they got to work together here back in the pack. And I did notice Buttafuoco, he was looking really aggressive out front. I wonder if he made an adjustment on his car coming down pit road. Maybe wanted maybe a little bit more turn in the car, because he really reeled in Brooks in a couple laps from about a second back. So really strong car for Daniel Buttafuoco in the 13.
Buttafuoco, a phenomenal season here in season 2. Was a standout last season, but didn't feel like he really lived up to his potential. Has joined Germain Gaming this season and has been the one to beat alongside Justin Brooks. The battle here, though, Tedeschi leading those efforts in 6th, and now back to your leaders. Side by side, they've broken away from the rest of the field, but we've got another set of pit stops that could shake things up if someone has a mishap on pit road. From the fan side, we'd love to see a caution to group everyone back up here, but these two putting on a race of their own as they continue to push each other. Take a look there, your leaders, Buttafuoco down in your bottom right, and Justin Brooks racing there. He got himself a little light, Rusty. We'd mentioned it last week following his win. Looks like he's invested in a little light. He's got himself a nice banner. Looking good here for Justin Brooks.
After picking up 5 wins, it's about time he got the fancy lighting for his victory lane celebrations here. But this is just all according to strategy and plan here with Brooks and Buttafuoco. They're trying to stay connected, nose to tail, to pull away from the 3rd place car, Slade Gravett. So the Slade, Alvarado, and Zader, they're trying as hard as they can to stay in line and draft, because that's how, like, once they get a little bit of that draft on that 2nd place car, they're going to be able to get up there and compete for the win. So that's an important thing to watch right now. As you look at the stopwatch and the leaderboard in the upper left, it's roughly hovering at that 1.05, but they need to pick up a little bit more and close within maybe about 5-6 car lengths to start to really feel the draft and then put themselves in contention for the win. But because when you get 3 cars together in a draft, they're going to make faster lap times than the 2 out front. So they just really got to work together. You see Louis Zader kind of get out of line. That's not what you want to do. But when you're kind of this late in the tire run, your tires start to fade. It's harder to keep it underneath you. So they just got to keep it together and push their way forward here.
And they'll continue to do so. 23 laps to go, with a lot of these drivers getting low on the fuel, the tires. Again, the fuel window only being about 21 to 22 laps, so they should have to come down here any time now to get that 2nd set of pit stops, and that could shake things up if someone has a mishap on pit road, whether that be a speeding penalty, or we saw a little bit of a mishap for Nick Jobs, in the PlayStation race. It is a possibility. Right now, we ride along with the group of Alvarado as well as Slade Gravett, Louis Zader, your 3rd, 4th, and 5th drivers, trying to lock together and catch your front runners. And Rusty mentioned it, trying to get close enough to catch the draft. They're not quite in that window, but right now you can see while they are racing for position, they're also trying to help each other to catch the leaders, because I honestly feel like, Rusty, if Gravett, Alvarado, and Zader can catch Brooks and Buttafuoco, it would be a really good battle here for the win, because they're all running similar times.
Yeah, when you put 4 to 5 cars in the lead pack with the draft, you saw in the PlayStation 4 race, you can make multiple grooves work. Anybody can kind of work their way towards the lead. This is just an unbelievable racetrack. And you see just barely creeping up on the lead pack here. Slade Gravett just slowly picking up hundredths, thousandths of a second here. It kind of fades back and forth. So I'm starting to think right now, because they're right in that window. I'm wondering if and when they're going to pit before the leaders. I think for sure they're going to pit before the leaders to maybe find a little bit extra time on the racetrack, because you can probably pick up about 5/10 by coming early on the guys each lap. So just really curious what the strategy is out of the 21, the 43, and the 42. I assume they're going to be on the same strategy together, because that's crucial to getting back out on the racetrack and staying in the draft together. But I'm curious what that communication is between the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place driver as the leaders are trying to do their thing out front.
Laps continuing to wind down, things getting exciting here as we know that these drivers will turn the gas on even more so as the laps wind down in that last shot. Down pit road, though, we have a taker. Looks like that could have been Lewis Zader, dropped off of that 5th place running spot. Yep, that was Lewis Zader. So on a pit cycle of his own, which could play out to be quite interesting, Rusty.
I'm shocked that he pulled down separate from those two cars. I'm curious what his maybe he was a little bit short on fuel, but I got to think you got to stay with Graven and Alvarado, because that's the race win strategy right now, is to stay with the lead pack, stay in the draft. I mean, he could cycle out in front of him and maybe get lucky and get in the draft, but when you're out there by yourself, you're just losing a lot of time to everybody out there. So unfortunate break right there for Lewis Zader. I mean, maybe it could play out. Maybe Yell's going to come out and maybe save the day, but I'm just shocked to see the 5th place driver pull off by himself. But like we talked about, Alvarado and Slade Graven, they're working together. They're on the same strategy. They're definitely going to pull off the track together. But keep an eye on those leaders. Oh, as we see Slade Graven signal, he's coming this time by. I'm curious if the 43 is going to follow him down on the pit road this time by.
Brian Tedeschi and Matthew Heel also takers down pit road, so 3 drivers have been down. Slade Graven comes down last minute. You see it, Alvarado comes down as well. So both of those drivers did opt to come down pit road. We now have 3 separate laps with 3 separate pit cycles. Justin Brooks, Buttafuoco still now at the front of the field. McGraw up to the 3rd spot. But with Graven and Alvarado, Selby came, Dohar came, as well as Nick Walker. This could shake things up. We have to see Brooks and Buttafuoco come down within the next lap, you would think.
Oh, Brooks almost missed the entry to pit road, but they both make it in together. Brooks and Buttafuoco, your 2 leaders, so that's crucial. They're that close together in pit road because they're going to get off of pit road together and work together in the draft. And I'm interested to see how this will cycle through. We see McGraw staying on an extra lap, Ogle staying on another lap or 2 like we saw the first cycle. But keep an eye on the blend with Graven and Alvarado up on the backstretch in front of these leaders. This is going to be the race for the lead. Now, I'm curious what it's going to look like, because we saw Diego Alvarado and Slade Graven maybe have a little bit of issues getting down at pit road. Alvarado maybe it was trying to avoid contact, maybe actually got into Graven. So very curious how this is going to look as these things cycle through.
Riley Ogle, your current leader here with 15 laps to go. Those pit cycles still taking place. Again, interesting to see, Rusty, how things will cycle through, because we should see Lewis Zader now upside in the top 5. Buttafuoco and Brooks, again, part of that group that just pitted. Riley Ogle now comes down pit road, so this will cycle everything through, so we'll give that ticker a chance to catch up with us. But under 15 laps to go, things are about to get wild as everyone has, for the most part, caught each other. Lewis Zader, I believe, in that group with Buttafuoco and Brooks. You can see them there, the 3 of them tracking each other. Does Zader, even though he pitted early, Rusty, does he ultimately stand a chance being on older tires than Buttafuoco and Brooks?
Yes, it's only about a lap or 2 difference, but the way these setups work, I think he's gonna be able to hang on. He's just got to make sure he hits his marks, because he's got 2 of the best in the business coming up on behind him. But a very clutch pit entry and exit again by Lewis Zader. We saw him pick up time on the racetrack the first pit entry. We saw him do it again the second time. He's been practicing this, as we see. Oh, Brooks and Buttafuoco, they're gonna look underneath him for the lead, but keep an eye on the 42 to pull in line behind them and stay in their draft, because that is the strategy right now, is to get in behind and keep yourself in position to win this race.
Wow, Zader really not even standing a chance there for that lead when Brooks and Buttafuoco got to him. It was like they passed him standing still, but you called it, Rusty. Slips in behind them, tries to hold on to that draft, but Buttafuoco and Brooks really in a game of their own. They've already put 2-3 car lengths in between themselves, and Zader really just pulling away. The best chance for Zader here is to grab the draft of Graven and Alvarado, who are not far behind him. They can see, but we're right along with your leader of Daniel Buttafuoco in the Geico machine. Justin Brooks almost under the back bumper at times, pushing him. 12 laps to go, and we want to see where you're watching. Tag us NASCAR Heat. Let us know where you're watching tonight's NASCAR Heat Pro League race from, whether you're watching us with MAV TV or if you're watching us over with our friends at Rev TV. We love having everyone join us for NASCAR Heat Pro League races, always bringing the action on the racetrack. And again, the final race here of the regular season for the NASCAR Heat Pro League, locked in already, is Justin Brooks and Daniel Buttafuoco, your leaders. Graven, though, Rusty, running in that 4th spot, looking good here to lock in via season points.
Yeah, we've talked about it. This could come down to the overall points standing leader, and Slade Graven is doing everything he needs to do to win the overall standings. He's riding there in P4. He's got Diego right behind him. Hopefully they kind of keep it clean together and get to the end, because they got to think big picture for Slade to get into that championship. But the race is not over with 10 to go. Anything could happen with these leaders, because Brooks is not going to be content just to ride behind Buttafuoco. He's gonna try to win this thing. So we could see some contact up front as we see Luis Zader fade back towards Slade and Alvarado. So this thing's far from over. I'm looking at Matthew Selby back in P6, Ron Tedeschi. There could always be contact near that 4-car. So the race has gotten a little bit spread out, but a caution could come at any time as these guys start to get a little bit impatient and maybe kind of lose some patience out there.
And Tyler Dohar and Sam Morris running 13th and 14th were two drivers that were in contention via segment points, but Morris running in that 13th spot, looking less likely. And Tyler Dohar, unfortunately, some technical issues on that driver's end, unable to finish tonight's race at Las Vegas. Those live standings, though, those regular season points as we run, Slade Graven ahead of Nick Walker. Less than 20 points separating the two. Luis Zader, who runs in the 3rd spot, not quite good enough at the moment with that 3rd running position, has him in 5th. So Slade Graven again holding on to that 4th spot. That is what he needs to lock himself in, as there are 8 laps left to go at Las Vegas.
And we're seeing them work their way past Luis Zader for a top 3 finish. Slade Graven's got to be really proud of this run, and he's just doing everything he needs to do. Like, he's given a lot of room right there. He's thinking really big picture. Look how much room he's giving the 42. It is faster down on the low part of the apron right there, but he's giving a lot of room and respect up there. He's just trying to get this thing to the end because this is the perfect position. This is where he needs to be, and he's going to clinch his way into the championship if he brings it home anywhere in the top 5 here. So keep an eye on Slade just to kind of maybe ride and get to the end. But he's here to race as well. So, we got a battle for the lead. We're side by side, coming to 6 to go.
Again, these two putting on a phenomenal show as the race laps wind down. Brooks now scored the leader for the Xbox One race. Buttafuoco wants it back now. These guys have been waiting. They've been silently racing each other without putting too much strain on their equipment, but the laps have winded down. 6 laps to go. Justin Brooks now the leader. Buttafuoco, though, literally touching his back bumper coming through the corner, will try and set him up for yet another pass. These guys in a race of their own, Rusty.
Yeah, this is going to be really fun. You see Buttafuoco all the back end of Brooks, and that's where you need to be to get the biggest draft and the biggest run. You can see him kind of find a spot to go to take that run, but he had really nowhere to go. But watch him gather it back up here on the exit of turn 2. He's going to get a pretty good run down the backstretch. Maybe he set him up here. Look for Buttafuoco to maybe send it off down into turn 3 for the lead, but it looks like he's just going to hang out right now. He's going to work on him one more lap and maybe set him up here with 3 or 4 to go.
The battle for 3rd through 5th with Graven leading those efforts. Luis Zader in the middle of those. He found his way into that mix after battling for the lead a couple laps ago. Sits in the 4th spot. Alvarado to the inside of him, though, will take the 3rd spot away from Luis Zader. Zader now slips back to the 5th spot. He'll ride there. Graven with a little bit of a gap, but needing the assistance. Buttafuoco tries the inside of Justin Brooks. Brooks a little wobble there. Closes the door on him, still maintains the lead. Buttafuoco will have to try once again. 4 laps to go here at Las Vegas. They'll get ready to cross the line and be within 3 laps to go. Brooks, Buttafuoco trying to set him up once again, Rusty.
This is so cool. You're watching Justin Brooks and Buttafuoco, 2 of the best in the business, show you how to race at Las Vegas, especially when you're in the lead, trying to block the runs. We're seeing Justin Brooks take the high side there and kind of send it a little bit deeper so that way Buttafuoco isn't able to get a run on the bottom and kind of stick the bottom. But Brooks is just showing how talented he is. Look at him block the run there, kind of block the path. Buttafuoco's gonna have a nice run on the outside, but Brooks is playing defense. This is perfect defense by Justin Brooks, giving Buttafuoco really nowhere to go. But Buttafuoco is going to get another run here and another shot at the win, but he's going to have to somehow put it underneath on the inside of Brooks if he's going to want to get this win.
And the great thing about these two, they're so respectful with each other. If Justin Brooks is there or Daniel Buttafuoco is there, Brooks will give him the lane. Brooks will not drive him dirty. He will give him the opportunity to race him hard for that lead, but there definitely is some rear view mirror driving, expectedly so, as the white flag is in the air. Buttafuoco to the inside, Rusty, side by side, these two on the final lap here in the Xbox One race.
Brooks gave him the bottom, and Buttafuoco took it, but we see the class and respect these two guys have for each other. Buttafuoco just kept it there in the bottom. Is he going to send it off into turn 3? Let's see what he does here. He's plotting for a big run down the back stretch here, or towards the front stretch, but it's not going to be enough as Brooks looks to take the win.
And you called it there. Justin Brooks with yet another win here in the Xbox One race. Buttafuoco crosses the line second in the field. The rest of the field comes across. Ooh, Selby with a bobble there at the tail end of it, but Slade Gravett, your third place runner. Alvarado comes home fourth. Louis Zader in fifth. Selby sixth. Tedeschi seventh. Heel eighth. McGraw ninth. And Riley Ogle rounds out your top 10 in the Xbox One race. Great battle at the end, Rusty, between Brooks and Buttafuoco, but we've almost come to expect that from those two.
They just put on a clinic right there and show you how it's done in the Pro League. They gave each other space, they gave each other respect, and they raced it out clean towards the end, playing a little bit of big picture racing there because they're going to be in the championship together in a few weeks. But we saw Slade Gravett. He, due to the overall point standing, he punched his ticket into the championship. So congrats to Slade Gravett.
And it's cool to see this point system work out again. It's taken 3 segments throughout our regular season, all compiled of a handful of races where we've locked a driver in each segment based on their points. And it ultimately has panned out that the best of each of these platforms are going to the championship between Buttafuoco, between Justin Brooks, and now Slade Gravett punching his ticket. It's setting us up for a exciting championship finale because we really are getting to see the best of the best battle it out here on both these platforms.
The really exciting thing about Slade Gravett is he played big picture the whole season. I was kind of critical of him maybe giving wins away, but he played big picture because he knew Brooks or Buttafuoco was probably going to win segment 3. So he just thought, let's just be consistent. Let's try to punch our ticket the clean and consistent way. So we do have the segments, but it came down to a total season's worth of results. So really good job by Slade Gravett in the 21.
Yeah, Slade able to put together, again, a phenomenal season here. So we'll have to take a look at those championship standings for your Xbox One drivers to see how those points all actually fell. Brooks and Buttafuoco, again, good run for them, but they've already been locked in. So taking a look at those championship standings, Justin Brooks, Daniel Buttafuoco atop of them all. Or I'm sorry, the race results here. Justin Brooks taking the win. Daniel Buttafuoco coming home in second. Slade Gravett, that third place run, again, just good enough to lock him in via regular season points. Good run for Diego Alvarado, though, in fourth. Louis Zader up front for a little while, comes home in fifth. Matthew Selby and Brian Tedeschi round out your top 7.
We're going to take a look here. The drivers about 8th to 14th. Tyler Dohar had the connection issues. Sam Morris, he was in contention to win the segment coming in today, but he just had some bad luck, and unfortunately his season is over. But he still has an opportunity, as these other drivers do coming up at Daytona, to win the race and punch their ticket to get in to the championship.
And segment 3 came to an end this evening. We'll take a look at the segment points standings here as well to see how that all rounded out. Justin Brooks, Daniel Buttafuoco atop of those two, of the segment 3 points. But again, they're already locked in, so it will not count. We reverted to the regular season. Sam Morris, though, was close, Rusty, here in the third spot. Just needed a couple more good runs. Would have been in contention for that segment win. Had a couple races gone his way.
Yeah, he pretty much needed to win today's race, get in front of Brooks and Buttafuoco and have some unfortunate days. But just sometimes that happens in racing. But I'm really proud of Sam Morris. We got the highlight coming into the race, the profile of the Hendrick driver. So congratulations to Sam Morris on his segment 3 run.
And Nick Walker was almost eligible via regular season points. He was inside those top 4 coming into tonight's race, which played in his favor because segment 3 has unfortunately not been kind to that Roush Fenway Gaming driver. Rounds out the field in that 14th spot for segment 3. But speaking of regular season points, let's take a look at those points as well and how all of our Xbox One drivers shook out in the regular season. Justin Brooks, Daniel Buttafuoco, once again, atop the board, already locked in. Slade Gravett, though, in that third spot, just enough to get him locked in, Rusty.
Yeah, it's amazing to see Brooks and Buttafuoco only separated by 3 points. But Slade Gravett, Nick Walker, I think Nick Walker, if he thought a little bit big picture throughout the season, he could have been punched into the championship like Slade Gravett is. Louis Zader, the rookie, strong season for him overall. Tyler Dohar as well. But I think we're taking a look at the team standings here.
Yeah, and those team standings not really playing into anything as far as locking teams into the championship, more or less just some bragging rights. Jermaine Gaming, though, with Daniel Buttafuoco and Kyle Arnold still sit atop the standings, with both of those drivers collecting wins on both platforms. JDG Daughtery with Justin Brooks obviously collecting a handful of wins in that second spot. Gibbs Gaming, though, surprising to see here in the seventh spot, Rusty, because we've seen now Josh Parker with those 2 back-to-back wins, but his success really didn't come till later in the season.
Yeah, Parker put it on late, and Matthew Heel had some success later in the season, but the results weren't quite there for the entire 3 segments of the season. And we're taking a look at Petty Esports picking up points late in the season. RCR have struggle of a season, unfortunately, and we're looking. And I think the biggest disappointment of the season has been Levine Family Gaming. I expected lots of wins from them here in season 2.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're going to get a chance here to talk now with the driver that has locked himself in the championship finale. Slade Gravett joins us here in our virtual victory lane as the driver from the Xbox platform, locking in to the championship finale. Slade, the checkered flag flies. You get the news that you're going to race for a championship. How are you feeling right now?
These were our expectations. Sorry, I'm still just so excited about this. These were our expectations coming into the season. Switching to Xbox, we knew that our goal was to make the championship, not really have a lot of wins, just be consistent and carry that from last season on PS4. So unfortunately, couldn't do it. The natural point system with segments, we couldn't win a segment this season, even though we came close to segment 1. But able to have the best season overall for every driver who did not win a segment, which is still a very good accomplishment. I take love, pride in being consistent and being a good model for the team and just for the league in general. So being able to lock into the championship and not have to worry about Daytona, because that's going to be a crazy race, it's just amazing.
Yeah, congrats, Slade, on getting your way into the championship. I want to kind of talk about maybe the speed Wood Brothers Gaming has found lately. Your teammate won today. You're into the championship. Also, big picture racing. The whole season, you've kind of thought about just the bigger picture, and it played off huge for you tonight to point your way into the championship. Kind of talk to me about Wood Brothers Gaming's season as a whole and that speed.
Our season, with our standards, has been very good. Unfortunately, Cody had power issues at Auto Club, in which he qualified, I believe, top 2 or top 3. I forgot where he qualified, but very good and had a car to win. I think he definitely could have locked himself in for this round, but those issues kept him from doing that. But the speed's been very good this year. I'm not sure we're at team standings, but speed's been fantastic. He's had. I've been a little bit luckier when it comes to just overall finishes, and Fluffy's had a really fast car, just have been very unlucky. So, a lot better of a season this season than last season. So we're very happy. Everybody at Wood Brothers Gaming, John Wood, who has put a lot of effort into our program and esports in general. I got to thank him for the opportunity. Everybody at Spin for coming on board for season 2, getting us all this cool gear. It's always awesome. And it's been an amazing season, not just for myself, but for Cody. Like I said, I wish he could have locked himself into the championship, but he's got a very good shot at Daytona next week, so we're going to be cheering him on.
And that he does. Well, Slade, again, congratulations on your lock-in. You've punched the ticket, and we're looking forward to watching you race for that championship.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
And it's cool to see Rusty again. Slade made that transition, like he'd mentioned, over to the Xbox side this year, but proved he didn't miss a beat. He'll be racing for the championship on the Xbox side. But overall, because he's come alive as of late, he's going to have some competition cut out for him between Justin Brooks and Buttafuoco, as well as our guys on the PlayStation platform. But you can't count Slade out. I mean, he's definitely got his chance.
Yeah, he has won once this year, and just as consistently pointed his way into the championship. But yeah, you can't sleep on Slade. Anything can happen in the championship race, and I cannot wait for this thing to be announced here in a few weeks, because we're setting ourselves up for an incredible competition between the PlayStation 4 and Xbox drivers, and Slade's going to kind of go back to his old stomping grounds and compete against his old friends from season 1. So really looking forward to see what he can do once we get to the championship.
Well, the drivers that didn't lock their way in through the regular season, they've got one more chance. Next time out, we'll go to the high banks of Daytona International Speedway for that wild card race Drivers have one more opportunity to lock themselves into our championship finale, and it's sure to be a wild one, Rusty, as we send them loose on one of the wildest racetracks here on the circuit.
Yeah, it's a wild card for a reason. Anybody and everybody has this thing circled, and everybody thinks they're going to win this thing. I can't wait to see how it plays out between all these drivers. This is a big race to get punched into the championship.
And that it is. It's sure to be a good one. And congratulations to our winners this evening. Also, those drivers, Josh Parker and Slade Graven, who've punched their way into that championship finale. It's been an exciting one. Rusty is sure to be exciting next week. So we're definitely looking forward to it.
I cannot wait. Oh, I wish we could go race right now. As always, I love being part of the NASCAR Heat Pro League. These drivers are incredible. Congratulations once again to Slade Graven, Josh Parker getting to the championship. This has been an incredible season. And thank you to all the drivers and fans for putting on a show.
And again, thanks to all the fans who joined our eNASCAR Heat Pro League final race of the regular season tonight from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We will see you guys next time out as we go racing the high banks of Daytona International Speedway for the wild card race. Good night, everyone.
NASCAR Heat 5. Refuse to lose.